Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Well, after we put the Tobacco Road Next Gen Cup Series drivers through Watkins Glen, we thought it might be a good idea to send them to something with a little more historical, a little more normal for these oval drivers here in the NASCARs. We are at the iconic, the prestigious Texas Motor Speedway, and it is looking quite right for a night of racing here at Texas as we get prepared for the Texas is longer than a mile, I believe.
Mile and a half.
Mile and a half. Yeah, I was gonna say that it is. That threw me for a loop just a little bit. The turns 1 and 2 are gonna have 20-degree banking. They're going to be, you know, not as banked. Turn 3 and 4, you've got to strap that NASCAR to the bottom, and you are going to have a rocket ship. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Mac Nelson. Joining me in the booth here tonight is Emmett Crow. Rob Campbell is not going to be on production. That will be me. That is one thing that I forgot to change in the overlay. We had a last-minute kind of change around of things. So I do so apologize for that. However, qualifying is just now wrapping up. Emmett, what's the kind of key takeaways here at Texas, and what are these drivers going to need to do?
So thank you, Mag. So first of all, I just want to say good evening to you as well. But the thing about Texas is, you know, we go back to this when we ran this new car at Texas for the first time, and it was just the tire wear just came into play so much. So expect a lot of tire wear. That's going to be one of the keys. Also, another key is, you know, that stage break at lap 45. We got that coming up. So if you can make it that long, I think you're good on tires. But there's going to be a lot of great racing, especially going into turn 1 with the progressive banking as well.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. And as these cars are taking to the grid, I believe it's high time to show you guys our starting grid for the race here tonight. In P1 is going to be Blake Cannon. P2, Travis Everett in that number 13. Row number 2 is going to feature James McRae and John Smith. Row number 3 is going to be Nate Lesko and Brad Harris in that number 9. P7 is going to be Gary Braylon with GT Irizarry being in P8. Brandon McLaughlin in P9 with Brandon Lopez in P10. Row number 6 is going to be Chris Toppings with John Oliverio. Row number 7, Scott Matthews in the 7. And in the 34, it's going to be Chris Perry. Row number 8 is going to see Chad Lancaster and James Johnson. Row number 9 is going to be Johnny Thunders. Shout out to Rob Campbell in his broadcast car. Row number 10 is going to be Jonathan Pereira and Billy Jordan. Row number 11 is going to be Adolfo Castillo and Thomas McLaughlin. And rounding out the grid in P23 is going to be the 77 Quantum Motorsports driver of Casey Gross. So as we get set to go here, Emmett, we have 135 laps here tonight. It is going to be one heck of a show. I do apologize. Like I said, we had a last-minute change around of file, so I cannot show you any of that. I do so deeply apologize. But next week we go to Bristol. We're at Watkins Glen next week, so an entire, I'll say, plethora of, different categories of tracks we're facing here. How is that as a driver to be racing such different stuff for 3 weeks in a row?
Well, it shows, you go through all this diversity, and it's going to show the skill of these drivers. We had Blake Cannon pick up his first career win last week at Watkins Glen and just wax the field. And then, we had Travis Everett the week before win at Iowa. So it really comes into play, at Kentucky. And then James McCray won at Iowa. So it really comes into play, Mac, and it shows just how these guys' driving skills are in this league.
Yeah, I agree fully, and those driving skills are about to be on display for 135 laps because Blake Cannon is off and away, and we are green here at Texas.
Oh.
Yeah, we were cranking it up, but we did, in fact, see a car go around and around on the back straight. I'm not entirely sure who that was. I'd venture to say maybe it was Adolfo Castillo because he is still in the pits now. However, he might have not taken the grid. That might not have been him.
Mac, I think it was Scott Matthews, because Matthews came over the radio and he said, I got loose and I got tagged. So I believe Scott Matthews was involved.
Okay, very interesting. Thank you to Emmett. He's got his ear down to the racetrack. He'll be giving us updates as we move through the night. Scott Matthews, he is sitting in the back, so there is a very, very decent chance we'll go take a look at the drop of this green flag. We'll be able to kind of see what exactly happened to that Outsiders Racing number 7 driver. The drop of the green flag here, Chris Toppings is going to dart off to the inside, maybe just a self-EOL wanting to be in the back. That is all good. He's going to get very close to the number 42 there of John Oliverio. And, yeah, he's just going to get loose.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's just going to be a very unfortunate and abrupt meeting with the inside wall there for Scott Matthews.
Yeah, and Scott Matthews just got the EOL from race control, so I believe that's the only one that got the penalty.
Yeah, well, it is going to be a long night if stuff like that is happening on the regular. However, I do believe that these drivers are going to have good green flag runs here at Texas. Texas is a very rhythmic track. It's very, flowy, so to say. Once you get in a rhythm at Texas, it just feels like you can run lap after lap at your optimal pace, and there's just no slowing down. It just feels so good. You get in such a rhythm. And I think if we get, a 10, 15, 20 lap green flag run here, I think there's a chance that it could stretch out to, maybe the entire race. I mean, I think Texas is one of those tracks that's going to breed those cautions and stuff, but it's also, it's a safe track, I think.
Yeah, definitely a safe track. There's going to be a lot of racing going on here at Texas, and the thing is, Mac, of course, the only big wreck we ever saw at Texas was, hold on, because Ross Chastain didn't go up and over, but Michael McDowell went up and over in qualifying at Texas in 2008. And that's the only really big wreck we've ever seen here. But these guys are pushing so much horsepower, and it really shows it when they go into the corner. And like you said, I mean, you say it's a safe track, but we've seen some carnage definitely here at Texas over the years.
Yeah, and I just want to remind the viewers here real quick, there was a request to have some paints refreshed. That's why some of the cars, or all of the cars really, went gray there for a second. We are good now. However, lights are out on the pace car, so next time around, it is going to be green flag racing. You can hear those Next Gens roar as they pass through our close inside camera coming out of turn number 2. It's gonna be great, I think, to see these cars in a long form, long run race. We've got so many drivers on this grid that are really good on these long runs. Gary Braylon, your defending champion, GT Irizarry, Travis Everett, Blake Cannon as well. Jonathan Pereira's up there with a very good long stint race car driver. So I think if we can get long runs here at Texas, I think it's going to be very, very fun and very, very cinematic. And you are not going to have to wait much longer because the pace car pulls in. We are green again here at Texas. And Nate Lesko a little bit asleep on that opening corner. So Nate Lesko, we'll have to see about him in that 20 Nesquik machine, but he looked awfully, laggy. Not in a network sense, but you know what I mean, in a sluggish sense, Emmett.
Yeah, it looks like he just was a little slow to the start. Might need a little waking up, get some Nesquik in him probably, and that's what woke him up. But look at the way he just drives through the corner as he's trying to complete the pass on Travis Everett. That car is definitely dialed in, Mac, for this track for sure.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, Nate Lesko is one of those drivers, we talk about it week in and week out. He's a very, very sound and safe driver. He's always in some sort of top 5, maybe even top 3 conversation. So Nate Lesko is one of those heavy hitters out on the track right now, and if you're trying to pass him, it's going to be a very difficult time, so I hope you came prepared.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to take a lot to get around that 20 car because that thing is so dialed in. Lesko did a great job. The Arizona native, racing a little closer to his home state, closer than where we were a week ago up in upstate New York at Watkins Glen.
Yeah, yes, sir. He is the, what I believe is Queens Creek, Arizona driver. Yeah, Queen Creek, Arizona, yes, sir. Currently sitting in P3 in that Camry. He's got a Camry ahead of him. It's James McRae. But that leader, Blake Cannon, in that number 44. New scheme as well, so nice to see Blake Cannon dripped in new colors. He's repping some new sponsors. Maybe this will be the leaf turn that Blake Cannon needs to get an advantage inside of the championship. Speaking of oh, sorry, Emmett, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just going to say, well, you win a race, that's when the sponsors start come calling for you. It's a lot easier to get sponsorship if you got a win under your belt back.
Yeah, I agree. And speaking of, we'll pull up your championship points now. Travis Everett in that number 13 Ford Mustang is going to be in front with 181 points. James McRae is going to follow closely behind. And the reason I wanted to point this out, your leader, Blake Cannon, is in P3 for the championship. So very, very important race here. P1 and P2 are both in the podium right now for the championship. So even though we're only 5 weeks into the season, this race could have very important championship implications.
Yeah, definitely can. And since Blake Cannon just arrived in the Tobacco Road Next Gen Series, he's just been phenomenal. We go back to Daytona. I mean, he was running second until getting caught up in that late race big one. And the mile and a half and the quarter mile, he did great. But I mean, got the monkey off his back winning last week at Watkins Glen for that first win was pretty special.
Yeah, I agree. As we are yellow again here at Texas, we'll have to see exactly what it was. Maybe Emmett will be able to hear some chatter over the race comms, over the race waves, but nothing triggered as an accident inside of my event viewer, so I'm not entirely.
There it is.
I'm not entirely sure.
I picked it up right at the. It's right at the end of the last lap, right coming down to the start finish line back. I'm trying to see who that was.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. So all the cars going to get bunched back up for another yellow flag. It's going to be our second caution of the night. We rest on lap 13. Drivers were just starting that lap whenever the yellow flag was ran. iRacing official pace car out on track, policing the speed as we get investigating, trying to get to the bottom of what exactly happened. Chris Perry has had a pit stop. We'll see if it happened to be Chris Perry. There's not a guarantee that this is going to be what caused the caution. I'm just confused.
Okay. Sorry, back. I did some digging and I've got it. So Chris Perry hits the wall, and Thomas McLaughlin goes around. So those two were involved, and I believe that was the only two that were involved. All I saw, unless there was something ahead of us.
Yes, sir. Now you perfectly explained it as it was playing here. Very good. So yeah, that's going to be Thomas McLaughlin and Chris Perry involved in that preemptive, or not preemptive, I should say premature pit stops because of the damage for both of them. Meanwhile, the rest of the grid coming in for a new set of, or no, I believe they all just came in for fuel. I guess it makes sense. We are only 14 laps in. Haven't really ran too much. 6-second pit stop times for those drivers. So yeah, just going to be a little fuel up, just a little splash and dash as these drivers are going to get set back behind the pace car.
Yeah, and they're going to give the EOL to Chris Perry, so he'll go to the tail end of the longest line.
Okay, very, very good to know, and also going to be very, very tricky to see how these drivers navigate these circumstances. I mean, we had the two early cautions. It looks like they're back in the tire sets up. We've only got 3 extra set of rubbers here tonight, folks. So 4 total tire sets. We got to get 135 laps. These Texas banks, man, especially turn 3 and 4, Emmett, they are going to wear those tires down. So would you say, I mean, I'm pretty sure I know what your answer is going to be, but would you say it's a smart decision that they're trying to back these tires up as late into the run as possible?
Yes, definitely. And, you know, we haven't had, I mean, we ran, what, 15 laps green? So, I mean, we really haven't had a long run yet. So, I think these guys are trying to decide, do I want to set my car up for a short run? Do I want to set it up for a long run in case we're not going to get another caution, you know? But it's just, it's hard to decide, you know, what you want to do for sure, because you never know what's going to happen in the race.
Yeah, exactly. I agree 110%. So as we get set here, I believe lights are out on the pace car. Yes, so these drivers getting ready to get back at it. Gonna be fun to see exactly how these strategies formulate. We're only 15 laps in, so of course it's going to be a very, very long night for these drivers. They're still in the early phase. It's not necessarily lock-in time yet, but lock-in time is certainly going to approach. And with all the heavy hitters sitting up front for now, it's going to be very, very difficult for these mid-pack drivers to really get any sort of advantage. Coming out of turn number 4, Blake Cannon set to begin us again as we start racing again here at Texas. And Blake Cannon, once again, off to an incredible start.
Yeah, look at Nate Lesko right there trying to get the position away from James McRae, but McRae That car is too good on the outside. So that's telling me, Mac, that right now the inside line hasn't come into play. Well, as we got a caution.
Yellow flag again. It looks like Gary Brayland is going to have a bit of debris on track. That left tire not looking very functional. So your defending champion, Gary Brayland, going to have to come into the pits. Yeah,
Gary Brayland just looked like he just got loose. Oh my gosh. Look at the front of that thing. I mean, how is that car still running?
I'm not entirely sure, Emmett, but he sure is whipping it. I mean, it's going to be I thought it was going to maybe be a big struggle to turn. I thought the tire was going to get caught on the road, but but I suppose not. Gary Brayland, I'm not entirely sure if he actually knows his car is messed up. I'm not entirely sure he knows that his left front is non-functional.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to decide too, because, I mean, look at that.
Yeah, that is, I mean, if it runs, it runs. Gary Brayland might be running on suboptimal equipment, but he is still your defending champion. He's still got a right front and a right rear. Maybe that's all you need, Emmett.
Yeah, that might be all you need here in Texas. Now we see him coming in, so maybe now he sees the damage is surmountable and definitely needs a repair.
Yeah, so very, very good on behalf of him. We'll take a look here at your schedule coming up, as that's going to flash over to your left. We are in Texas. Bristol is next week, followed by an off week on February 25th. We get back at it March 4th at Talladega, and then we head to North Wilkesboro. Those are your next 3 races, and then drivers will have to start, caring about the points finishes they have, caring about the stuff they are doing here in these races every Wednesday night, because Chase for the Cup coming April 29th, starting at Martinsville. Top 16 will be battling, and we'll be there, Emmett, and I bet it's going to be a very fun time.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a very fun time, and it's going to be interesting to see this new point system that NASCAR is going to run this season, get to see how it's going to affect this championship battle. And it's really interesting because no points reset. It's going to be just good old-fashioned, the throwback days to the chase, just like you said, calling it the chase for the Cup. That just brings music to my ears. Get the playoffs out of here.
Yeah, I would agree. I feel like the chase is more universally loved by NASCAR fans. But they got something. I guess they got something they wanted out of that playoff system, because good viewing is definitely not what it brings. I don't know what it brings, but apparently they like it enough.
Yeah, I mean, that's Steve Phelps, though, and that's why Steve Phelps is now looking for a job.
Well, that is a good point. Who knows? We might see him up in the booth for Racer Nexus. You never know. You never know. And before we get going green here, I do just want to say very quickly, shout out to Apex Sim Racing, your one-stop shop for sim racing accessories. I apologize. Use code RacerNexus for 5% off. That's anything: wheel bases, wheel rims, pedal, sound, monitors, chassis. It does not matter. Anything you need for your sim racing adventure or career, you can find there at Apex Sim Racing. Use code RacerNexus, 5% off. Also, big shout out to Track Cams for Gourmets. That's trackcams22.com. They provide all the car and track cameras you see here on tonight's broadcast and across the entire Racer Nexus network catalog. iRacing official pace car about to pull off. Blake Cannon once again going to have the honors of starting us here tonight. Going to be very interesting to see how these drivers handle it now. Will they have the jitters? Since we have been under yellow for so long here tonight, here we go.
Man.
We're green at Texas. Blake Cannon off to a great start. Billy Jordan in a big heap of trouble. Chris Perry's around again. No, he's going to catch it. Chris Perry going to catch it. Very good save on the side of Chris Perry there. We keep it green. We keep moving. Chris Topping's in that number 12 representing Quack Pack Racing. New scheme for him this week, I don't believe. That was the same one he was running last week. He is trying to get up to the 42 of John Oliverio, trying to pass him, but a little further ahead, we've got James Johnson here, who was at the back of what seems to be maybe a very, very big pack forming for the lead. As you can see here, we've got Blake Cannon, we've got Nate Lesko, James McRae, John Smith, Travis Everett. They're all fighting for the lead here, Emmett.
Yeah, McRae's going to try to use that outside line as that outside line, just like we were talking about. Mac is really where the lane of choice for these drivers, and you just see how much McRae's able to rocket around Cannon using that high side, and I think that's why Nate Lesko follows suit.
Yeah, Nate Lesko with a little bit of a touch on the wall as we hop into the Racer Nexus broadcast chopper. We see Brandon Lopez there. He's trying his best to maybe get something going around the top side. He's going to pass the 13. That's Travis Everett. There's going to be contact. John Smith and GT Irizarry are both around. Here we go, yellow.
Yeah, and I just want to add also, Mac, Brandon Lopez looks like he scraped the wall right before this wreck happened, so that could have played a factor to maybe a checkup or something.
Yeah, maybe we'll go back and take a look. This is going to be between the 47 and the 14 as we see heading down the back straight. They're just going to beat and bang, and unfortunately the 47.
Oh, man.
Yeah, the 47 of John Smith not going to be able to really fight back. In a lot of those situations, Emmett, you can kind of fight with the wheel and keep yourself on balance, but I don't know if maybe it was too much of a directed hit to the back because they weren't side by side enough or what, but he could not keep that race car straight.
Yeah, and it's weird. Personally, I never thought I could ever save a car, but I learned how to use the brake pedal when you're about to spin out. And when you use that brake, you have so much more control than because the rear tires lock up and you don't spin out rather than just letting the car go around. But yeah, that just looked like I think Smith thought he was clear and tried to move down. I don't think it was intentional. I think it was just a racing incident right there.
Yeah, I think you're probably going to be right about that. We'll have Emmett scan in the airwaves to see if there's any possible penalties given. Light still on the pace car here, so we'll go at least 2 more times around Texas. And it's been a...
So the only...
Sorry, go ahead, Emmett.
The only penalty that was given is John Smith receives the EOL.
Okay, so John Smith going to be credited with that incident. He will be sent to the back as per league rules. We got race control here tonight. Our very own boss man, Rob Campbell. He is on the race control tonight, doing a fantastic job. I'm pretty sure when it comes to sim racing, the only thing I haven't seen Rob do is drive. So if he can drive on the actual sim, he can do everything in my eyes. He might be Sim Jesus. I'm not sure, I know that title gets passed around lightly these days, but I'm just saying it. I want to put Rob Campbell, my vote's in the hat. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I was talking to Scott Matthews, and we were talking last 2 weeks ago when the trucks were at Indianapolis. He actually talked about running. He said Rob was a great driver in the trucks. He said he ran a couple races with him at Indianapolis as well. So there's the hat trick right there, Mac.
Oh, wow, yeah. Very, very cool. Very, very interesting. So it's very, very interesting to see how these drivers are getting along here at Texas Motor Speedway. It's been a very, very dramatic shift in the atmosphere. A lot of these drivers, I think, came into this race expecting to have long green flag runs. I think they expected to be pitting under green instead of pitting under yellow. I think they expected to maybe hit a groove, hit some sort of rhythm, like I said, towards the top of the broadcast. But Emmett, unfortunately, they just can't seem to string things going or string things together as they get going as a cohesive grid. I know they're racing against each other, but you kind of have to race on the same page to get a good long run going.
Well, and here's the interesting thing that I'm going to be looking for. How quick does James McRae go to that outside line with him restarting on the inside? That's going to be something that's going to be interesting because McRae's car is so much better on the outside line. But we're saying that we haven't seen him on the inside line, so now we get to see him, see how that bottom's going to come into play for our leader, James McRae.
Yeah, James McRae now finally having the lead. He got around Blake Cannon. I apologize. So James McRae and Nate Lesko actually get around Blake Cannon. So we're going to see a little bit of a weird restart here as we get set to go green flag racing again here at Texas. James McRae is going to be the one who has the button, always coming through with a pink car. A lot of the times it was a cinema roll car. He has changed it to something that is hard to read in cursive again on his car. So that's something we're going to have to look at.
Yeah, and right there, just like I was saying, he didn't want to run the bottom. Oh, man, was that Brandon Lopez into the wall, I believe?
Yeah, I believe
we got a caution.
Yeah, we got a caution. It's going to be Chris Perry around again in that number 34 Maverick Motorsports Camaro. It's not looking good for Chris Perry here tonight. And already at the start of the incident, catching a fat slide from exiting turn number 2. And he's going to eventually overcorrect into GT Irizarry. Very well done on GT Irizarry. We'll have a look at him. Does he manage to complete the save? Yes, he does. So very good awareness on the side of GT Irizarry. He's not having the best of luck here tonight, and that would have only made things 10 times worse. So Chris Perry gonna be the one who goes around again.
Yeah, I mean, that car, well, okay, so I went back and I looked further back, Mac, and it looked like Perry got arrow loose. I think GT, with GT behind him, because I was wondering why that car was already sideways down the backstretch, but it looked like in turn 2, he was already sideways, so that's why that car spun out. But yeah, tough break for Chris Perry, not having the best night. Going to get another EOL.
Yeah, and it's sad to see because Chris Perry is someone who we've seen him towards the top. We know his car can have that sort of pace. We know it can go the speed needed to get a good result. He's just always, unfortunately, making these small mistakes that in just a split second compound into race-ending situations. And for the likes of Chris Perry, I'd love to be able to see him string together 2, 3, maybe even 4 good finishes here as we get, really kicked off and through like halfway into the season.
Yeah, definitely. And Chris Perry, he had a great run at Daytona, and then he was caught up in one of them late race wrecks. Had a good run at Iowa. Once again,
Yes, sir.
Caught up in a late race wreck, if I remember right.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems like it's a little bit of the same story every single week for the likes of Chris Perry. And it's hard when you're a driver. I've been in leagues. You've been in leagues. When you get into a slump like that, it's hard to get out. You're constantly overthinking everything. You're not just letting the driving come to you. You're trying to go attack the driving and, make things happen through driving only. And that's when the mistakes start to compound. So if you're Chris Perry, I would just exit the session right now, take a breather, come back next week on a completely flat and new foot, new plane, and start really locking in and take this title seriously.
Yeah, cool off, get you some Nest quick, you know. And then, like you said, not unwind, but decompress, wouldn't you say?
I like the way, yes, I'll agree. I like the way decompress. I tried to think for a second for a better word, but I don't think there is a better word. Decompress. Yeah, I like that. Yep, he needs to decompress, come back next week. And you know, get something done at Bristol. It's going to be a completely new environment at Bristol. They haven't really raced a fast, short oval yet. So, I think that's the perfect time for Chris Perry and the likes of some of these other guys. I mean, GT Irizarry has had, you know, some unlucky runs the past few weeks. Chris Toppings as well. Thomas McLaughlin. So, you know, for the likes of Jonathan Pereira as well. So all these drivers, they could use, you know, that little mental decompression and, you know, that new foot forward.
Yeah, and I just want to add, James McRae was a rocket at Bristol last time. Of course, then Joshua Nunez won that race in his debut. Only didn't practice, only put down one lap and qualified fifth. So, yeah, James McRae's going to be looking to revenge that second place finish.
Yeah, and we are green here again at Texas. 105 laps to go here at Texas, only on lap 31, so the action just getting underway. As we see James McCurry trying to fight off Blake Cannon and Nate Lesko. It seems to be working. I mean, look at where he's got that car placed. That is the perfect car placement for making anybody trying to attack the outside. It makes their job a whole lot harder. It makes anybody trying to stick a nose inside not able to get the move done. But Blake Cannon, just as I'm saying that, look at this defense from James McRae as well. The offense and defense, this is looking like the old school Raiders versus Buccaneers, Emmett.
Yeah, the thing is, Blake Cannon took a page out of James McRae's book about how good that car was on the top side. And then he went to the outside, and you just see, though, James McRae's car is just so smooth through the corners. He's able to get him on corner exit and then just rocket on the straightaway speed.
Yeah, I agree. A lot of these top 3 drivers, top 5 drivers, heck, I'd even say all 5 of them, McRae, Cannon, Lesko, Everett, and Lopez, they've all got incredible mid-corner car control. The way they can transfer the weight in these next gens makes them feel a lot less boaty, as a lot of people say in the oval community. They feel like boats when they go to road courses, all that. These guys make the car feel good. They're driving it to an exceptional rate right now, and we've got ourselves a little 4-car battle here for the last spot on the podium.
Yeah, a little 3-wide action for a moment going on between, who was that? But, well, never mind. It's Travis Everett trying to get around Nate Lesko. I can't think of these names.
No, it's fine.
Getting tongue-tied.
Yeah, Travis Everett working on the pass on Nate Lesko. He got it out of turn 4. He's leaving the room, though, for a switchback. Nate Lesko, very good defensive driver. However, we do know him as a very good switchback guy, too. It's, you know, one of his staple moves that he likes to pull. He pulled it a lot at Iowa. It seems to work out a lot. And I have no idea if he comes from the dirt racing background, but I feel like, you know, when you dirt race those slider lines and, you know, always switching it back when they push it too far into the corner, I feel like that's where a driver can really learn, you know, a talent like that, the switchbacks. Of course, also road racing, they do it a whole lot, but you can really implement that kind of stuff here in oval too. I mean, physics is physics, momentum is momentum. It doesn't matter what we're driving. As Brandon Lopez, he stuck his nose in the inside there of Nate Lesko. He did not get anything to fall, and something unusual here, Emmett, Blake Cannon, who ran so well at the start, is back down into 5th.
Yeah, I think he's seeing how good that top side is. Everybody's gotten around him on the high side, and he went back down to the bottom just trying to find the groove when he saw that McRae was running the inside line. But I mean, that top side, Mac, for right now is so rubbered up, and the inside line just isn't moving as well.
Yeah, these two having a very, very close battle. It's been raging on for a few laps now. Blake Cannon going to be a lot later to set his car in the corner there inside of 1 and 2 there. These drivers starting lap number 38. 98 more laps to go here as we head into turn 3 and 4. Blake Cannon, unfortunately, just has nothing for Brandon Lopez right now.
Yeah, Brandon Lopez, you know, just like I said, that high side is coming into play back, and, you know, it's showing how good the outside line is. So all these drivers, you know, that's their preferred line now. But look at Nate Lesko making that inside line work.
Yeah, Nate Lesko, incredible driver, incredible racecraft on him. He's towards the top nearly every race. He's a strategery guy. He's very strategic in how he approaches these races. I'm sure he'll be on some sort. It might be very close to the, you know, the widely used strategy here tonight, but I guarantee you he's going to deviate just a little bit. He loves pushing that car 1 to 2 laps past the normal pit window, and he makes up genuine time with it.
Yeah, makes up genuine time, and he just does a great job on using that inside line as he sees Travis Everett shoot down in front of him on the inside. Doing a great job. Lesko, though, he knows these races. I mean, this dude could have won Watkins Glen, but got caught up in that big with that wreck and caused him to end his day. And now he's trying to rebound with a great run right now going on here at Texas.
Yeah, and we've got a very, very strange kind of 3-headed horse fight going on for P12 right now. Make that 4. We've got some heavy hitters here. That is your defending champion in focus, the 99 of Gary Braylon. GT Irizarry is going to be behind him.
Braylon in the wall.
Braylon into the wall. Chad Lancaster follows as well. This is a lot of guys. John Smith you see back there as well. This is going to be a lot of guys that have maybe had not the greatest of starts to their race, and they're kind of forced back here in this mid-pack to, you know, go to war, and these guys are doing just that. So not only do they have a very calm and collected top 5 or 6 they have to catch, they also have to battle each other, and the problems are only going to get worse because we have a yellow flag in the air.
Yeah, trying to take a look and see what happened. Just a second.
And as...
So this is going to be the stage break, Mac.
Okay, yes, yeah, so much action. I forgot about it. We do indeed have a stage break here, lap 43. So we are going to go into a stage break. With that being said, we're going to step aside for a quick commercial break. So if you need to go to the bathroom, grab a drink, grab a snack, do it. We will be back with more action in the Tobacco Road Cup Series here shortly.
There might be some rain coming through. We expect rain soon. Rain is close. The session has been declared wet. No sign of this rain stopping. rain is clearing up. Rain should be gone for now. Nothing but sunshine all day.
Well, it's been a little bit of a caution-filled race here at Texas. My name, Mac Nelson, joined by Emmett Crow. We represent Racer Nexus. We will be your voices here tonight if you're just tuning in. Like I said, it is our 6th caution of the night. So going to be our 7th start of the race. Lights are out on the pace car, I believe. They sure as heck look to be out. So expect us to go back racing here very, very shortly. And although it's been a little bit of a slow night, we have had a lot of cautions. There's been a lot of good takeaways from the race here tonight. And James McRae gotta be one of those takeaways. He has been so consistent here at Texas. It's honestly, I put him in the driver's seat to win this thing, Emmett. I apologize. I do remember Emmett had to step away. So as we go green here, James McRae will have the button in that 27 Camry. Here we go. We are live in green at Texas.
Yeah, Mac. James McRae doing a great job. You know, won that race off of pit road, really dialed that car in, and it's showing the speed that he has over Lesko. James McRae, Mac, is looking like the car to beat early on.
Yep, I 100% agree with you there, Emmett. As Nate Lesko in the number 20, going to be very quick to follow behind. GT Irizarry has made his way up. However, he seems to be hitting the wall a lot coming out of turn number 2, so we'll have to see what that results in.
Olivero just about got down on that apron and got way loose in front of GT. And I don't know how Oliveira was able to keep that car from spinning out and causing caution right there. Great car control by Oliveira.
Yeah, John Oliverio, the American driver here. A lot of American drivers. Gary Braylon, only Canadian on the grid right now, besides our great Rob Campbell. He is race control, of course. Jonathan Pereira going to be the only other foreign driver on the grid in that number 38, the Portuguese driver. Not having the best of nights here tonight. It's been sort of a slow start to the season for the number 38, but we are only in week 5, so only a fourth of the season done. He's got some time to get up there, but he's going to have to start, and it needs to really be tonight here at Texas.
Yeah, doing a great job. You know, 86 laps to go. But, yeah, like you said, just hasn't had the night that he thought he would have. And ran good, you know, at Watkins Glen. But, I mean, he runs good at Bristol. So maybe he's just wanting to have a good points night tonight and then setting his sights on the world's fastest half mile in the last Great Coliseum.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I agree. Travis Everett having a little bit of a battle here in that Mustang. He's got another Mustang. That's Brandon McLaughlin behind him. So the 13 battling the 81. 81 going with a new scheme this week. He's got the Cole Sean, yellow and white. As I'm not entirely sure. I don't know if it's an age thing. I'm not that old. I'm pretty young. But I have no idea what Kolsch is.
Yeah, I'm about to About to be the Jamie of the group and get it for you.
Yeah. Got to see what Kolsch is. Got to know what we're dealing with here. So that's going to be on the car of Brandon McLaughlin. Right behind him is Brad Harris, another Quack Pack driver with that NWFR. I think that's National Waterfowl Reservation or something. I'm not entirely sure. I'm not versed.
That is the... I was about to say, that is the National Turkey...
Oh.
Let me see. Is it... I think it's the National Turkey Federation.
Oh, well.
Wild Turkey Federation. That's what it is.
Okay, yeah. Okay, it's WTF. I thought it was WFT. I do apologize with that. So, very good on him. He's going to bring it up right beside Travis Everett, though. And look at this. Brad Harris might just be overtaking Travis Everett here. He is. That's going to be a full car-length pass for Brad Harris. And just like that, he is by Travis Everett.
Yeah, and just to let you know, the mystery has been solved. Kolsch is a crisp, pale, golden ale from Cologne, Germany, known for his hybrid lager characteristics achieved by fermenting. Yeah, it's a beer. In German beer.
Oh, cool. Kolsch, nice. German beer in Cologne. Cologne connected to the esports universe. Of course, IEM Cologne every year for Counter-Strike. Cologne, Germany, one of the staple places for esports outside of the U.S. So nice to see its connection to sim racing, although just being inside of a livery. Checking back up with James McRae in that number 27, the JC Esports driver. He has had one heck of a night. Nate Lesko is the only driver that can really rival it. However, Blake Cannon starting to get those numbers back down where they need to be when it comes to lap time, and he's starting to make a run back towards the top.
Yeah, Blake Cannon, that car, just like I said, Mac, that car, he set his car up probably for a long run rather than a short run, because it took a little bit as we saw him drop all the way back to as low as 5th, but he's really started to pick up on these times, really chasing down our second place driver, Nate Lesko.
Yeah, Nate Lesko in that number 20 Nesquik. He was keeping up with James McRae quite well. However, on that last lap, being a little slower, so the lead is going to grow ever so slightly for James McRae. And this is the commonality that we see here in the Tobacco Road Cup Series. It seems like every track is someone new having just a very good idea on what needs to get done at the track. So it's cool to see these drivers putting in so much practice each and every week that it results in a different driver having that sort of advantage knowledge-wise over the rest of the grid.
Yeah, definitely really shows, like you said, the diversity of these drivers in this league. They're really showing that they can drive any track at any time and any in this Next Gen Cup car.
There, Brandon McLaughlin battling Brandon Lopez here. The 81 versus the 5. Brandon Lopez, we know he is not afraid to get in a fight when it comes to a position. He will fight tooth and nail to get that position. He's very respectful. He's very clean, but he does love to fight. It does tend to be a little bit of a weakness, though, on the defensive side of things for him. He tends to get overtaken a lot. However, to counteract that, he does also overtake other drivers a lot. So a little bit of a double-edged sword there for Brandon Lopez.
Yeah, Brandon Lopez, had a great run going. I think he finished, top 5, top 3 at Watkins Glen?
Yeah, I believe that's right. Yep. So, yeah.
So cool to see Red Bull in NASCAR again.
Yeah, good run of form for Brandon Lopez as we have a little bit of an engagement going on in front of that number 5 Red Bull car as they kind of part ways. Brandon McLaughlin going to go very high up into turn 1 and 2, the 48 of James Johnson. Yeah, he's going to get a little bit loose there, Emmett, with that car stepping out as he comes around the corner. That's going to allow Brad Harris to get by him on that back straight. And Brad Harris, he's looked very, very good here tonight.
Yeah, Brad Harris has looked real good, you know, part of Quack Pack Racing. Doing a great job for Quack Pack. You know, one of the two, the other one being Chris Toppings, but Brad Harris being the best runner for Quack Pack tonight in that number 9 machine.
Yeah, and it's been a very, very uneventful night for Quantum Motorsports. Casey Gross not even taking the grid. Adolfo Castillo in P20. Johnny Thunders in P19. And then I believe the other driver is Billy Jordan, who is currently sitting in P14. But we'll move the camera back to the battle that we just saw. This is GT, Irizarry, Travis Everett, and James Johnson. They're all fighting for a spot inside of this top 8. So it's going to be very, very cool to see how these drivers behave.
Yeah, and we see Travis Everett right on GT, just trying to find a way to get to the outside now, excuse me, as GT's trying to use that outside. I'm sorry, Travis. They got the same color back. And, as GT's going to be able to clear Travis Everett, but Travis Everett going back to the outside line, trying to get enough gain to get up side by side with GT, and he'll do it at the live drag race.
Yeah, they're looking very, very fast through there. Multiple lines getting love here as we work our way to around halfway into this race. We are currently on lap 66. We've got 70 to go. So very close to halfway. And yeah, you're right. I mean, the 13 of Travis Everett, very, very sound on the racetrack. He is very in control, in tune with his race car. And that provides good finishes there for Travis Everett. But one thing I see Travis Everett struggling at is just the consistency. It seems like he can always get himself to the top, but he can never really hold himself at the top. I mean, we saw it happen. We do see it happen every now and then. And I mean, Travis Everett, at the end of the day, is an incredible driver. I mean, he's up there in the championship standings. And, you know, I'm picking at the, you know, tiniest of errors here because overall he is a pretty complete driver. But I think consistency is the one big thing that he kind of lacks before he can kind of take a step into that top, you know, 1% of iRacers here in the oval community.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, just like you're saying, I mean, Travis Everett, you know, won at Kentucky, had a good run at Watkins Glen, and now back on the mile and a half, trying to get back up here to battle our leader, Mr. James McRae, for that win.
And we're getting love in chat for LNG Power Sports, the 44 and the 48. The 44, Blake Cannon, going to be in P3 for now. We'll flash it in now. Top right of your screen, LNG's Power Washing LLC out of Millersburg, Pennsylvania. You can contact them whenever you need. They also sponsor the driver points that we showed a little earlier tonight. There's the business card for LNG's Power Washing. If you need any of that information, there you go. Take a picture, take a screenshot. We only got a few more seconds to do it because it is gone. If anybody needs that information, get in contact with us through the chat. We'll feel free to show that some more as we move on here. And Emmett, if you're the likes of John Oliverio, what do you got to do to really break into this upper echelon, the top half here, and get yourself firmly established inside of the top 10?
Well, you know, you just got to maintain your race. You know, you're probably praying for a caution or hope that James Johnson makes a mistake and you're able to get up to him. But, I mean, you're just trying to stay calm and trying to remember, I mean, we've got 65 laps to go, you know, so, I mean, there's still a lot of stuff that can happen in this race. So just maintain your equipment and be there at the end.
Yeah, very, very good, sound advice. And it's something that I touched on consistency earlier with Travis Everett, but I mean, that's the name of the game, and that goes for every driver who gets in a race here on the iRacing official service, especially here on the oval disciplines. As we see, James McRae is now in P3. Nate Lesko effectively is leading your race. We'll have to go back and take a look. at what happened there. But you see here,
Yeah,
let's go trying to get around the top side of James McRae in that Nesquik number 20. Blake Cannon sitting there watching, trying to see what exactly is going to happen. And around turn 3 and 4, I mean, it's just going to be a sound pass by Lesko. That's just pure outpacing.
yeah, and then it's funny you say that, Matt, because I actually went back right before you brought it up and watched what happened. But yeah, Nate Lesko, that car was just rocketed past James McRae on that high side, and McRae's car starting to fade. Mac, maybe this is the end of a tire run.
Yeah, that would seem to be the case. We are on lap 74. These tires are now going to be about 30 laps old for these drivers. A lot of these guys pitting on lap number 44. A lot of them taking all their tires. So they are on 30 lap old tires right now. I don't know if they got more fuel. I know they had that splash and dash there at what I believe was around lap 13 or 15 or so. So I'm not entirely sure how the fuel cell is looking on these cars, but when it comes to tires, 30 laps old, I mean, yeah, we're definitely going to start seeing some fall off.
Yeah, definitely, and we're seeing it now. But look at Blake Cannon go back to the race lead over Nate Lesko. So Cannon's car is really starting to play in. Mac, you know what that's telling me? That bottom line is starting to come in and rubber up.
Yeah, bottom line is starting to come in, and potentially us seeing the drop in Cannon earlier in the run suggests that maybe he was saving his tires and is now starting to kind of net that advantage and use it to gain grid positions as Nate
Lesko coming in this time, Mac.
Yeah, Nate Lesko's coming into the pits. We also see Brandon McLaughlin in. So Nate Lesko on the undercut side of things so far, and that's exactly where we typically see him. We see him in the undercut situation a lot more than we see him in the overcut situation. So now Blake Cannon, he is on extra time here, as he has got to be as fast as he possibly can to make this advantage over Nate Lesko, you know, apparent and realistic, because Nate Lesko is about to come back out on the track, and man, he's going to have fresh Goodyears.
Yeah, definitely going to have the fresh Goodyears. And just want to add, we do have one car now out of the race. Chris Perry has taken his car behind the garage.
Chris Perry going
behind the wall to the garage.
Yeah, Chris Perry going to call it a night. And it was a very unlucky run for him. We see Brandon McLaughlin there. He is coming out of the pit lane. Blake Cannon going to choose to go in, as well as James McRae, as well as GT Irizarry, and also Brandon Lopez. So your main top 5 for most of the, you know, latter half of this run, they are now coming in. Brad Harris takes your effective race lead. However, he is going to have to pit. So you got to think that that lead is going to be very short-lived for the number 9 Quack Pack driver.
Yeah, definitely. And now with all these cars on pit road, you know, I like it though. I mean, Harris decided to stay out just a little bit, lead a lap, you know, get your point. Well, not get your points, but, you know, try to extend that gap. As we see, I thought Thomas McLaughlin was coming in. Yep, he is coming in. But now it gets interesting, Mac, on how this is going to play out strategic-wise with how early Lesko came in over Cannon.
Yeah, Lesko has a 3-second lead currently. So he is going to be the, you know, short-term winner of this alternate strategy of using this undercut. So with Blake Cannon only 3.5 seconds behind, we've got 56, almost 55 laps to go here. It's going to be very, very fun to see how this kind of alternate strategy plays out.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be fun to see. And another thing, you know, Lesko trying to get around these lap cars. Just hoping, well, right there, that's what I was about to say. As Chad Lancaster comes over the radio and apologizes to Lesko. But, I mean, yeah, what's going to happen in front of Lesko, you know, and could end up, you know, getting caught up in something in front of him, and it could end his race and take him out of this win, possibly.
Yeah, no, I agree, and that's always the tricky part of these late races. If they do go green, lap traffic does start to play a big part in how you move your car around the racetrack as a leader, especially, we've only got a 22-car grid tonight. If this was a full 40-car grid, I mean, it would be an absolute obstacle course for the leaders. But Brandon McLaughlin's starting to act as sort of an obstacle for Travis Everett. That's going to be the car behind him. Travis Everett looking to get aggressive and looking to pass McLaughlin for P4 here.
Yeah, Travis Everett just trying to find a way to get around the inside. Actually, the outside, excuse me. Now he drops down to the inside, just trying to find a way around the McLaughlin machine. I'm sorry, the Colts machine driven by Brandon McLaughlin, but McLaughlin doing a great job on that high side.
Yeah, the Kolsch, the German Cologne beer. I'll remember that. I'll remember that for the rest of my days. Travis Everett now has his car on the inside, jockeying for position. He's going to have to take that. And Brandon McLaughlin, I mean, is going to have to take that. And he is going to have to formulate some sort of other plan because he pushed his car very high into turns 3 and 4. And not only is that nuking the tires, it's just not going to be as fast. So Travis Everett taking the optimal line, seeing that mistake that McLaughlin made, and he is very opportunistic, and he gets out ahead.
Yeah, gets out ahead of him and just doing a great job. Is Nate Lesko, I mean, it's pulled out, let's see, what is it? Let me get my live time and I got to stretch it out. I mean, got a second, 1.8 second lead, but I want to keep something in mind. James McRae just ran the fastest lap of the race at a 29:47.
Yeah,
Sorry, that was before. That wasn't the fastest lap.
Well, no, that is fine though, because it is funny. James McRae being in third, he does have the fastest lap. That fastest lap is by almost an entire tenth as well, might I add. So James McRae clearly has this track dialed in. He's got his car dialed into the track, but he sits in third, and unfortunately, he's not really running very convincing laps as compared to Blake Cannon and Nate Lesko. So James McRae has the fastest car, technically, of the night, but he can't put it together right now.
Yeah, definitely can't put it together. And we see CGT Arizari moving up, getting past McLaughlin, moving into the number. Well, now Brandon McLaughlin they're just tallying for position.
Yeah, they are fighting fighting. 81 of McLaughlin going to slide in behind Irizarry here. Coming out of turn number 4 across the start-finish line, we will be starting lap number 88, 48 laps to go here. And Brandon McLaughlin going to do the same thing. He's going to set his car, as we get a little bit of a network problem there on the side of McLaughlin. I apologize about that. But he's going to set his car high in turn 1 and 2, and he's doing it to try to get the run coming down to 3 and 4, but the only problem is he's setting the car high in 3 and 4 as well. So kind of just not at all really what he needs to be doing right now.
Yeah, I totally agree, Mac. I mean, not doing it, just like you said. But, I mean, GT, that thing has turned into a rocket ship after this pit. I don't know what they did to that car, if they put some jet fuel in it or what, but, I mean, that car looks to be a lot quicker than what it was in that the first half of the race.
Yeah, I agree completely, and getting a little bit of the secret stuff while he was in the pit lane. And, yeah, that car seems to be on rails. And, I mean, for a guy that has taken 5 pit stops this race, GT Irizarry has fought back to a top 5, and we see him do this very, very often here. He's always got some sort of adversity that he has to climb out of, and he climbs out of it and gets a good result. It's a hero play, but at the end of the day, if you take out the mistake, imagine the ceiling that could be for GT Irizarry if he didn't have to fight his way back through every race and he could just sit up front and, you know, participate and race. I mean, there's no telling how good he could be.
Yeah, there's definitely no telling how good he could be. And he's really, he was having a great run at Watkins Glen and then got caught up in that wreck that ended his run. But I mean, yeah, GT has really come on. I believe he won a race last season or this season. I can't remember. He won a race. I remember. I think it was at Iowa last season.
Well, that could very well be the case. Nate Lesko in the number 20 Camry, still keeping out to a 8/10 of a second lead over Blake Cannon, your J and I apologize, LNG, not J and G. LNG Power Sports driver. And John Smith, Emmett, I just also want to add, I just noticed this looking at the timing. John Smith is currently sitting in P8, and he has taken 6 pit stops this race.
Yeah, just to fix that damage. He's involved in that earlier caution in the first half of the race where I don't think he hit the wall. I can't remember if he hit the wall or hit a car, but that's probably just to fix the damage. Get this car dialed in, because these guys, they've got these cars dialed in though, Max, since taking that last green flag pit stop, and a lot of them are starting to show that these cars are here to compete.
Yeah, I agree, and Quantum Motorsports finally getting into the green here tonight. They've had an awful night for almost all of their roster. However, Billy Jordan is still riding in a very respectable 14th. He just passed John Oliverio for P14. So the Quantum Motorsports car, the lone car, if I'm not mistaken, I look through here, I believe he is the lone Quantum Motorsports driver left in this grid. He is in the green, making his way up. He's 6 spots up on the race here tonight.
Yeah, definitely making his way up through the grid, doing a great job in the 41 machine. And just like you said, I mean, these guys are just like, Billy Jordan's doing a great job. But look at this, James McRae under fire now from Travis Everett for third.
Yeah, Travis Everett trying to get around him. I'd love to see what goes on in the mind of Travis Everett when he gets into this position. Because I know as a driver, he's a good driver. He's won races. He's, been very close to winning championships. And if we bring up the driver points here once again, you'll see that he is currently leading this championship right now. James McRae, though, who is ahead of him, very, very close behind with 177, as well as Blake Cannon with 173. So all your top 6... If Brandon Lopez were to be in 6th place right now instead of 7th, your top 6 would be all the top 6 in the championship. Not in order, obviously, but it would be the top 6. So that just goes to show you how dominant this top 5, 6, 7, 8 cars here in the Tobacco Road Cup Series, how dominant they really are.
Yeah, and look at this, Mac. I just want to flash up. We're seeing this battle for third. But this battle for the lead is really heating up as Blake Cannon has caught up to Nate Lesko and after chasing him down, was as far back as 1.8 seconds. Here comes Blake Cannon. That car is coming to life too.
Yeah, 37 laps to go, so definitely some more racing here tonight. Definitely some more patience needed in the tank for Blake Cannon. I know what it's like to be in 2nd place. You're chasing that lead. You're seeing that lap count dwindle down, and with it, feels like your chances at making a win happen. But Blake Cannon's pace and his form have been incredible here tonight. If he can just stay behind Nate Lesko and wait for him to make a mistake, Blake Cannon might be in a very good spot to win this race.
Yeah, Blake Cannon right on him, but Mac, it comes into play. We were talking about the earlier stint. Look at Blake Cannon coming in on the later stint than Nate Lesko. Now it's showing as Blake Cannon goes to the outside, trying to get this race lead. But meanwhile, just like we were just showing though, that battle for third is Everett's going to clear. Oh, never mind. McRae fights back on the outside.
Yeah, McRae's going to have a little bit of an advantage, and you said it, I believe, Emma, towards the top of the broadcast. James McRae doing a very good job of making his car fast around those second and third lanes, and we're getting to see it here.
My gosh. Yes, and meanwhile, back up front, Blake Cannon driving on the inside, trying to make the pass back. They're going to drag race to the stripe.
They're going to drag race indeed. It's going to be advantage Lesko, I believe, at the line. And Blake Cannon, yeah, in that 44, he's going to tuck it down on the inside coming out of turn number 2. Nate Lesko going to try to match his momentum. He's going to try to match his pace. Unfortunately, I don't know if he's got it. Blake Cannon did pit 2 laps later than Nate Lesko, so technically speaking, he is on just a tiny bit fresher tires. So something to note here, as we get 33 laps to go, Emmett, will that 2 laps be what hurts Nate Lesko's chances?
Yeah, it's really going to come into play. And then as this battle for third is not going away, now McRae has moves up in front of Everett using that outside line. But here's the thing also, Mac, could this be saying that these tires are going away? I mean, we got 32 laps to go. 33 laps to go, excuse me. 32. Could we see another pit stop? I don't think we can see another pit stop, only maybe if a caution comes out. Meanwhile, just want to add Johnny Thunders and Chad Lancaster and Adolfo Castillo have all taken their car behind the wall.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. I think we're going to have to see another pit stop, though, Emmett, because they did pit for fuel on lap 78, but the only problem is 78 to 135 is about 58 laps or so, if my quick math serves me correct. I have no idea what kind of fuel load we're rocking in these cars, but 58 seems like a lot of laps to go on a single tank.
Yeah, and James McRae, look at this. With these two battling side by side, look who's come up to the party for third. That's GT Arizari right there, Mac. So Arizari now trying to chase down these two for third, try to kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
Yeah, Nate Lesko is going to fall behind Blake Cannon, and it's going to grow, but James McRae in that battle for third, like you said, has now attracted quite an audience. Travis Everett, GT Irizarry, both right there looking for it. This is going to be your closest battle on track currently, and it's for the final spot on the podium. If anybody can defend it, though. Leader is pitting, so we are going to have to get some new tires, some more fuel into those race cars. Blake Cannon, Nate Lesko going to match their pit lap here on lap 107. Or I guess technically it would have been 106 when they brought it in. So now 107 for these guys going across the line. Oh my
gosh, Mac. We have just received word. I believe after hearing the chatter, Blake Cannon might have got a speeding penalty.
Oh no, Blake Cannon. If that's true, that's going to be horrible news for the number 44 driver, part of LNG's Power Sports, Travis Everett. Going to now have your lead of the race. James McRae coming into the pit lane now. And I'm not entirely sure. Oh, James McRae has had something. I'm not entirely sure why James McRae is dropping so many positions. GT Irizarry is now going to have the lead. Travis Everett is into the pits. Brad Harris also into the pits. Blake Cannon, I have just received word. Blake Cannon has gotten a speeding penalty, 40-second penalty on behalf of Blake Cannon. And that's going to put him in what is now 15th place, Emmett. So with 27 laps to go, a few miles per hour is what separates Blake Cannon and Nate Lesko.
That is unbelievable. Tough break for Blake Cannon. Had one of the dominant cars, but if you're Nate Lesko, now I think you're breathing a sigh of relief saying, okay, 1 down, 2 to go, because James McRae is still a rocket ship around this track, and taking Cannon out of the picture, now James McRae is hungry for that win.
Everett has got speeding as well as Brad Harris.
Oh my gosh.
So Travis Everett also facing the speeding woes. Brad Harris doing the same as well. So what an event. What an event for those two drivers. Cannon and Everett looking so dominant on their respective strategies. They both face the speeding penalty, and that's going to unfortunately be their night done.
You know, we could get a caution back, so I don't want to say that because they could get the wave around. So, you know, I wouldn't call them quite out of it because you never know, but yeah, it's going to be tough for sure. Their chances are very slim.
Well, yeah, with the 40-second speeding penalty, Lucky Dog would go to Billy Jordan currently. Actually, I take that back.
Wow.
Defending champion Gary Brayland is currently your Lucky Dog.
Wow. So, yeah, they're going to have, well, and the thing is, you know, with this field, as we're going through this cycle, if a caution does come out, it could be these guys that haven't pitted yet, and that's their best bet, and they could get the waiver out.
Yeah.
And get back on the lead lap.
Yeah, I do agree with that. Nate Lesko's going to move into your leading spot here, but we do
And
have
looky
a
there!
yellow. It's going to be Blake Cannon as well.
My gosh.
So we'll go back and take a look. It's going to be coming around turn 1 and 2 here, as it looks like he might get himself
Man.
caught on the right front of the 36. That's Thomas McLaughlin. Blake Cannon's going to go for a little bit of a spin, and when those tires stop moving, that's when they're getting nuked up by you holding the brakes. So consider those
Not
fresh
too bad
good
of
years.
damage, though.
Yeah, consider those fresh good years balded.
Wow. Tough break. But here's the, like I said, the good thing about this new car, rather than, you know, the Gen 6, Gen 4, Gen 5, these things are built like tanks. Like, it takes a lot for you to ruin your aero package with these cars. So I don't think the damage is going to hurt him. He'll come in, get some duct tape on it, put it back out there, and try to go out there and get back in this race.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly with you there. Kind of a funny little side story we've got going on here. Top 6 is going to be 2x2x2 when it comes to manufacturers. It's going to go Lesko and McRae in the Camrys, Irizarry and McLaughlin in the Mustangs, and Smith and Lopez, as well as James Johnson, actually. P5, 6, and 7, all going to be in those Chevrolet Camaros. I almost said I tried to mix Corvette and Camaro. It's a Camaro.
Yeah, and I just want to add that Thomas McLaughlin got credited for the EOL, so Blake Cannon, that helps him out as far as no penalties for Cannon. So it's going to be interesting to see if that 44 can get back up here.
Yeah, but unfortunately, Blake Cannon going to be in P15. He sits a lap down. Only problem is there's 5 drivers ahead of him that are also a lap down. So he is nowhere near getting the lucky dog. And as we go down to almost 20 laps to go, it's going to be very hard for Blake Cannon to get himself back in this race.
Yeah, it's going to be very hard, but I mean, the way we're trending, you know, as these Tobacco Road Next Gen Series races have trended, cautions breed cautions within the last 20 laps. So I think Blake Cannon's keeping that in mind, and who knows what can happen when you're in the Tobacco Road Next Gen Cup Series for sure.
Yeah, I agree. Lights are going to go out on the pace car, so we are going to go green next time by. I want to give just another shout out to Apex Sim Racing. If you guys need anything sim racing accessory wise, whether that be you know, wheelbase, wheel rim, pedals, monitors, chassis, audio, motion. It does not matter. Apex Sim Racing is where you need to go. You'll get the best prices on all the best sim racing gear available. Use code RacerNexus for 5% off. It gives us a little bit of kickback over here at Racer Nexus. It supports the channel and the network a lot. We appreciate your guys' support a ton when you use that code. Also, big shout out to TrackCams for Gourmets. That's trackcams22.com. They provide all the car and track cameras you see here tonight and across all of the Racer Nexus networks. The Racer Nexus Broadcast Network. That's a little bit of a tongue twister, but the pace car, the iRacing official Mustang pace car is about to pull off. We are going to get this race back underway. Going to be our 8th start of the night. We're 7 cautions in. Pit stops should be done unless we have a late race yellow. But Nate Lesko in that NESQUIC 20 going to have to be very quick as he has the button and he is off to an incredible start here. We are racing again.
Yeah, McRae spun the tires or missed a gear or something because he checked up the whole outside line. And now GT Arizari is going to try to slide. Look at this, Mac. Almost 3 wide for second.
Yeah, GT Irizarry in P2. It's going to be, I think, the 3 wide you're talking about comes a little bit behind. It's going to be Brandon McLaughlin, the 47 of John Smith, Brandon Lopez as well. These guys getting all bunched up, 20 laps to go. Everyone is in win now mode. And after not having a front left tire for some of this race, Gary Braylon, your defending champion, has brought it back and has himself a top 5 currently.
Mac, I just want to add Blake Cannon has moved into the 11th position. He is now in the position for the lucky dog if we get a caution.
Oh, that is very, very beneficial for Blake Cannon. He's got himself a little bit of a side quest going on as he has got to make sure he stays on top of all the lapped cars in case we do have another caution here. GT Irizarry has 2 very, very ambitious drivers behind him. That's the 27 of McRae and the 47 of Smith. So the Camry and Camaro trying to get to the Ford Mustang. GT Irizarry going to try to battle his heart out for this P2. Any battle that does happen just benefits this man, your current leader, Nate Lesko, in the number 20 NESQUIC. Emmett, if you're leading 17 laps to go in the Tobacco Road, well, what are you saying to yourself to get through this race?
No caution. You're just praying that there's no caution where the rest of the field is praying for caution. But GT Irizarry has really gotten away from James McRae and really took advantage of getting a good, great restart. After McRae, he had to miss a gear or spin the tires or something because the checkup was you know, out of the blue. But, I mean, Nate Lesko, you're not praying for a caution. GT Irizarry, rest of the field, you're praying for a caution.
Yeah, and we'll go back to the green. We'll get maybe a little bit of a look at what you're talking about here, Emmett.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah, yeah, I believe he missed a shift. I didn't see any squirm. I didn't see any, you know, spinning of the tires. I think he just missed a shift there, Emmett.
Yeah, that's what I ultimately thought because I knew it didn't spin the tires because there was no wiggle in the car, so you couldn't see, you know, the physicality of him actually, you know, spinning the tires. But yeah, I think he just missed a shift right there, Mac.
Yeah, which is, you know, it happens, and especially here at Texas, you've got so many worries. You know, you kind of don't worry about the start. You're naturally just invested in other stuff going on the racetrack, but those restarts, how you start your car, how you propel forward during that initial drop of the green, very, very important, as we see for GT Irizarry and Nate Lesko. They both got incredible starts, and they're both incredibly further up the track than the rest of the field.
Yeah, they're doing a great job, and GT Irizarry is on a mission to catch up to that 20 NESQUIC Toyota Camry of Nate Lesko, but he's going to have some help, I think, because Lesko's starting to pull away now, Mac.
Yeah, Nate Lesko, he's always very, very quick in these late race scenarios. We typically like to see him on a long run, but he has shown that he does excel in the short run if he needs to. Obviously, there's no point in saving for more than 12 laps because we're not going to have more than 12 laps unless there's overtime, obviously. But, you know, that's the stuff that, you know, that's for a completely different conversation. But yeah, Nate Lesko, 12 laps to go, he doesn't really care about saving. He's going to use all of those tires up, and when he does that, he is incredibly quick.
Yeah, and the thing is, looking at the intervals and the gap, I mean, it's fluctuating between 4/10 and 5/10. I think if I'm GT Irizarry and looking at the lap times, that time Irizarry was faster by 4/10 of a second. So that's something coming into play too as this race goes on. I mean, we got 11 to go. There's debris on the track. What the heck?
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what that's from. Nobody has pulled into pit lane. Nobody seems to be going at a much slower pace than the rest of the grid, besides for John Oliverio. But he has just...
I believe it was Oliverio.
It might have been. He entered the pits, left pit lane, and is now entering pit lane again. So yeah, I do believe if we can get maybe one of our NEXUS drones down there. The car looks to be fine.
It might have been Johnny Thunders, maybe?
Ooh, well, the
Not
42,
Johnny Thunders, Billy Jordan, excuse
well, the
me.
42 of John Oliverio is going to miss his pit stall by a good 8 to 10 feet, so he's going to have to back that up, get inside there. More than likely going to be John Oliverio's night finished. He might come out just for laps completed stat, but yeah, he is kind of set and destined in his position of P17. He sits a few laps down, 4 to be exact, so not exactly the night John Oliverio would have wanted. However, it is going splendidly for the likes of Nate Lesko.
Yeah, and I just want to add, Chris Toppings came over the radio and told a race control, iRacing cautions only, so no more manual cautions. Look at this, GT Irizarry just trying to find something though, Mac, on that inside pull, way down almost on that white line, right, separating the track and the apron, just trying to find some kind of grip to catch up as James McRae's coming for second.
Yeah, James McRae starting to find a little bit more pace than both GT Irizarry and Nate Lesko. He's actually running about a 10th faster than him on that previous lap. So 7 laps to go. It's only a 1 second gap. James McRae has a little bit of a claim here, but they are going to have to fight and claw if they want to get up to Nate Lesko. 7 laps left, and well, we've seen it multiple times, and it looks like we might be seeing it here again, Emmett. It might just be a Nate Lesko strategy masterclass.
Yeah, it's looking like now, you know, looking at the lap times, last lap, Lesko ran a 30-34, and Irizarry ran a 30-43, and now McRae runs a 30-37. So, yeah, it looks like here in a few laps we're going to have GT Irizarry's hands going to be full with James McRae.
Yeah, and something interesting is that I take that back, GT Irizarry in the number 14 Motorcraft car, he is actually on the freshest tires of all of these drivers. So he is actually moving the slowest of our top 3, but has the freshest tires of them all. So very interesting to see. It is only by a few laps, so I mean the difference is very marginal. However, GT Irizarry has been, you know, very competitive and very close to leader pace all night now. And, you know, on the side of GT Irizarry, it's got to be frustrating if you've been good all race and coming down to the final, what we're at now, 4 laps, and you're starting to fall off.
Yeah, starting to fall off, and it's, like you said, it's just very odd. You know, usually you see the car with the fresher tires have the faster lap times, but that's not the case. The third place car of James McRae is faster than Irizarry, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mac, but McRae's got older tires than Irizarry.
Yeah, McRae's got older tires than Irizarry. Nate Lesko's got older than both of them. 1 lap is going to be 106 was the pit lap for Lesko. 107 for McRae. 110 for Irizarry. John Smith has also entered his name into the equation. He's got to start moving like right now if he wants this to, stick. But we've got 2 laps to go, and Nate Lesko's looking like he might go out on top.
Okay, here's the thing, though. That last lap back, GT Irizarry ran a 30-31 rather than Lesko running a 30-42.
Yeah, so it's going to come down to the final lap. So here we are. It's a Wednesday night. It's the Tobacco Road Cup Series. You know what it is. You clicked on the stream. White flag in the air. We are official. Nate Lesko in the number 20 NESQUIC machine. He's putting the quick into NESQUIC. He has been insanely fast all night. We see Nate Lesko use the undercut, and although it was only by a few laps, it got him the 3.5 tenths he needed to clear second place GT Irizarry, who we'll get to in a moment. But Nate Lesko is going to win here at Texas. GT Irizarry bringing it home P2. James McRae P3. John Smith with a very impressive P4 finish. Gary Braylon, gotta be your driver of the day. He only had 3 functional tires there for a good bit of the first run we had, and he brings it home in P5.
Yeah, I just want to send a shout out. Blake Cannon ended up finishing P9 after restarting 15th.
Yeah, very good finish. Way to make a good thing happen out of something bad for Blake Cannon. Travis Everett going to finish in P13. Chris Toppings in P14. And, of course, Chad Lancaster, who got into a little bit of a scuffle. He is going to finish in P19. There's your race winner. In the number 20 NESQUIC Camry, it's going to be Nate Lesko. And what a day it was for him, Emmett. I mean, he looked very, very strong.
Yeah, sorry, I had to chuckle because he hit that wall a ton right there. But, yeah, definitely looked strong. Had a great car. And, he made up after the heartbreak he had at Watkins Glen. Now it's the smell of victory here at Texas.
Yeah, and it's been a very, very long road for him to get here. 135 laps. It looked like it might have been Travis Everett's day. It looked like it also might have been Blake Cannon's day. But pit lane speeding issues for both of them mean it goes to Nate Lesko. It happened about halfway through the race. And our first interview here tonight is going to be James McRae in the number 27. James, Mac, and Emmett up here in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir. How's it going?
It's going well, James, and you had yourself one heck of a night. It seemed like you always had yourself in a battle with a car at, certain points of the race. You liked the low line. We also saw you make some overtakes there on that second lane there on the outside. So tell me how it was just to be in a car that could get it done anywhere on the track.
I don't know about get it done, but I mean, I guess it did in some certain situations there. But I don't know. I just felt like I've lost my ability to save like I used to be able to, because they were just pulling away from me and catching me after that stage break. So I got to figure something out here.
Yeah, well, I mean, you got yourself a P3. We look forward now to Bristol. You had Watkins Glen last week. You've got an intermediate 1.5 course this week. And then you've got the short banked, just Coliseum of Bristol there. I mean, so much history there. Is it going to be something you're looking forward to, or is Bristol somewhere that's not really circled on your schedule?
The last time I went to Bristol, it was pretty good. It was great. So I'm hoping to repeat that. I think it was yeah, it was here in Tobacco Road with I think it was me and James Johnson were battling most of the race last season. Um, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It was fun last time.
Well, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see you guys here at Bristol. We're going to let you get out of here and celebrate on a third place or a third place finish, I'm sorry, here tonight. But before you go, is there anybody you'd like to thank or shout out for tonight's performance?
Yeah, of course, you guys broadcasting, y'all are like the best that I've seen around. Toppins and them, the guys at Tobacco Rose admins putting this on. Uh, and of course, my girlfriend out there who's sick, and my mom watching.
Well, very kind, very wise words. We appreciate that out of you, Mr. McRae, from everybody here at Racer Nexus. We appreciate the love that you and a lot of these drivers we talk to bring us every single Wednesday. So we're going to let you get out of here and celebrate your P3 finisher here tonight at Texas, James McRae.
All right, thank you, Mac.
And Emmett, I believe you might have got down to pit road, and I think you might be with GT Irizarry.
DT, man, talk about a crazy race. You know, usually with the older cars, the faster guy had the fresher tires, but that wasn't the case. But you gave it a heck of a run. How's it feel to bring it home in second tonight?
Yeah, I'll certainly take a P2 after the race we went through. I mean, we got I went 3 wide with somebody. I mean, nobody's fault, just racing stuff. Got hit on the right side, put it in the wall, and I try to not hit the wall as hard. I only had 35 seconds of damage of it, and just fixed it. Never used a fast repair, and man, it was just a battle from there. I mean, you just used the hell out of the tires trying to keep up and catch up, and then I called it to my teammate Travis. So I was like, well, I'm just going to follow him through most of the stuff, and I mean, he had a little bit more in the bank than what we did, but he got nabbed on pit road.
Yeah, a lot of people were got those speed tickets, but this is a big, you get caught up in the wreck at Watkins Glen last week and come back and finish second, which is very impressive. How do you feel about your chances at Bristol next week?
Let's not talk about that. Bristol's gonna be one of those things. You're just gonna get what you get. I'm just gonna try and I don't know, just try and survive. Last week I caused the wreck. Last week I just got, I hit the turtles and it turned me sideways and then collected Alfredo, and I was like, dang it, tonight that wasn't the case, but it was a fun race. I mean, I'm glad that two of those guys got nabbed on pit road. I think Blake was definitely going to be the one to catch, and Travis was going to be the one I was going to try and catch for the next position, but he was a little bit better than I was. But hey, you got to take the cards that are dealt to you, right?
Yes, sir. Well, before we let you go, is there anyone you'd like to thank out there?
I appreciate you guys in the booth. Appreciate Tobacco League putting it on, and my teammates for actually going out and practice with us so we can get some learning curves on this thing like this. And I appreciate you guys being on the track.
All right. Well, we'll see you next week at Bristol.
Yeah, 10-4, guys. Appreciate you, man. Bye.
Mac?
I'm doing great. How you guys doing? Yeah, no, I think the biggest thing was getting on the pit road. It was tricky. It was you had to slow down pretty quick there. So I could see how Blake made a mistake. But I think just getting down the pit road could save you lots of time if you could do it cleanly. I'm glad. I'm fortunate though. I feel like I did well with that because Blake had me on pure pace. I mean, I don't think I could have pulled him off. Ooh, yeah, yeah. I don't know. These are guys are quick, so we'll see. Hopefully, I'm just competitive, and I think if you can get yourself to the last half of the race, anyone can really have a shot. But it's just making it there. It's kind of like the beginning of this race. Once we got past, uh, I don't know, 6, 7 cautions, it was good racing. I like to shout out my son. He was watching alongside of me for the last half of the race, so I'm gonna shout him out today. All right, thank you.
Oh, it started off in the first half was just a top heavy racetrack. And then once that bottom line came into play, really rubbered up and it really gave us some great racing. Got to watch that pit road speed. Now we saw several drivers get the speeding ticket, get the boot, and ultimately cost them a win. Blake Cannon, Travis Everett, as many as well. But it just sets us up for next week when we go to the last great Coliseum and see who's going to give them the old chrome horn and the boot scoop boogie at Bristol. Not much. Just saying I got to go get in line because the line's going to be outrageous at Bucky's across the street.
I have no idea, ladies and gentlemen, how long my mic has been muted on the broadcast. I deeply, deeply apologize for that. I have no earthly clue when that happened. If it was a long time ago, I apologize deeply. Nate Lesko's going to win your race. You heard the interviews. James McRae got third. You know what I asked. I ask the same questions every week. You know what I asked. I do so deeply apologize for that, though, however. We went through the results on the brand new results screen. Big shout out to Rob Campbell for getting me that. And I basically just went through this information. I do so deeply apologize for having the mic muted. Like I said, I have no idea when that actually happened. But for those who are still tuned in, please take care of yourself. Take care of each other. We will see you next week here on Racer Nexus.